Okay, good evening, guys. Welcome to our third session. We are now on our module 3, chapter 3 of our subject ICT 410. So, our discussion for this evening revolves around file systems and disks. So, this is just a review of what you have learned some um, during your past subjects. No. Uh, okay, so our objectives for this evening are as follows. Number one, discuss the importance of network operating systems. Number two, value the importance of network operating systems. And number three, understand the basic concepts and structures of operating systems. So when we're talking about, guys, of file systems and disk, so this refers to um, a method and structure and data structure that the operating system uses to control how data is stored and retrieved. So without a file system, data placed in a storage medium would be one large body of data with no way to tell whether one piece of data stops and the next thing begins, no? So the remedy is that by separating the data into pieces and giving each piece a name, so the data is easily isolated and identified. Taking its name from a way paper-based data management system is named, and each group of data is called a file. So the structure and logic rules used to manage the group of data and their names is called the file system. So this is what file system is all about. So the first file system that we're going to discuss is the file allocation table. So FAT or file allocation table dates way back from MS-DOS, and nowadays it evolved into several operating systems that is being used until such time that NTFS was invented. So FAT or file allocation table is a file system developed for personal computers, no? So originally developed in 1977 for the use on floppy disk. So flash disk pa karang una. So it was adapted for the use on hard disk and other devices. So why is it that FAT became obsolete? FAT is no longer the default system for Microsoft Windows computers. And FAT file systems are still commonly found on floppy disk, flash drive, and other solid-state memory cards and modules. So as well as many portable and embedded devices. So FAT is made available only in such short notice devices like your flash drives and SD drives. FAT is statistically allocated at the time of the formatting, and therefore the table is linked for list for entries of such cluster and a contiguous area of disk storage. So each entry contains either the number of the next cluster in a file or either a marker indicating the end of the file. So unused space or special reserved areas of the disk are called your root directory, no? So this contains the number of file cluster on each file in the directory. FAT traverse into the cluster and number of each successive part on the disk drive that contains blockchain where the data is being stored and reached. So if you have FAT or using FAT, therefore you are going to use subdirectories which are implemented as special files. So this contains directory entries of the respective files. So FAT becomes obsolete because of NTFS. And the difference between the two is that NTFS made aware of the compression of disk and files. So whereas your FAT, what you see is what you get, and what you save is what the content of a disk or a storage file devices. So that what's FAT made obsolete. But nowadays, you still have an option if you're still going to use FAT, especially on disk drives that are used for formatting devices. However, the maximum amount for bit storages for FAT is only 32-bit. So meaning to say, when you are going to manipulate 64-bit of information, supposedly you're not going to use FAT anymore, but you're going to use NTFS. Okay? So FAT standard has also been expanded in other ways while generally preserving backward compatibility with existing software. So that what's FAT becomes extensible, no? And FAT can also be compatible with the background old system. So kung nagagamit pa kamo ka mga dati pang operating system or may mga files ka mong ginagamit using the old because ang nagagamit lang do karon ka mga old computers, mga Windows 98, 95 or XP are ang mga businesses nga wala pa nag-migrate sa bag-o nga operating system. So most banks actually sa mga bangko mga daan pa kada nga operating system yung ginagamit nanda guys. It's because ang file nga gina-store nanda karang una is still they are still running it and using it, so maintaining the system. So one reason for that they did not upgrade is the compatibility issues of the files. So much more gani ang iban nga banks gani no nga wala pa nagsilo sa mga newer systems. They're still using Windows 98 and 95 and they're still using the old printer nga malabog la that you can print several reams of bond papers. Now let's go to another file system which is called NTFS or New Technology File System. So if you have FAT that becomes obsolete, you also have NTFS, which is a proprietary journaling file system developed by Microsoft. So NTFS becomes apparent when FAT becomes obsolete. And NTFS started in Windows 2000 NT. So pag Windows 2000 NT, that was introduced during the millennia, no? 1999, year 2000, and 2001. So those are the times that we're still using Windows 2000 NT. And the entry of the NT devices or the software for NT, Microsoft, new technology, new NTFS was introduced during that time, replacing file allocation table. So NTFS has a general technical improvement over the file system that is supersede, which is FAT and HPFS or the high performance file system. So such improvement support for metadata and advanced data structure to improve performance, reliability, and disk space use. So those are the things that need upgrading, no, from FAT going to NTFS. As I've said, performance, reliability, and disk space use. Additional extension are more elaborate security system based on access control list and the file system journaling. So NTFS is also supported in other desktop and serving operating system as well. So Linux, when you're using Linux, you can open Windows-based programs because of the NTFS. Basta nakasupport lang siya sa NTFS technology or na-save ninyo ang data file sa NTFS, you can open it in other Linux devices provided that it has an NTFS driver. So the driver for NTFS for Linux is called NTFS-3G, no? Pero this is not possible with Mac OS or the Mac operating system, which is used by Apple. So you can open NTFS and other compatible software or operating system like Linux, but you cannot open it in Mac OS just because Mac OS has a different operating system as a whole. So wala siya compatibility in terms of NTFS. NTFS is supported other desktop and server operating system as well, not only with desktop computers or nodes, but also with servers and operating systems. NTFS can compress files using LZNT1 algorithm, and file is compressed in 16 cluster chunks. So meaning to say, if you use 4 kilobyte of information, that is the equivalent for that on FAT is, or the FAT is 16 bit. So kilobytes, 16 kilobytes. That's times 4, no? So 4 times 4 is 16. So can you see the difference, no? It has 4 times capability for storages just because of the compression for NTFS technology, not with FAT but NTFS. So I think that's mainly the difference between the two. of the new file systems, or the file systems that we discussed. The first one is being the FAT, and the other is NTFS. So for your activity number 5, guys, what you're going to do is to refer to FAT and NTFS. Then in your own words, you have to contrast and compare FAT from NTFS. You're going to provide at least 5 comparisons between the two, and you may use any offline software provided that will be copy pasted to any word processor and convert it to PDF and save it as activity number 5. So after that, you're going to upload it in your Google Classroom. Okay? Now let's go to another topic. It's called your cloud storage. And cloud storage nowadays is widely used under the sun, just because cloud storage is the model of computer data storage in which the digital data is stored in logical pools, which said to be on the cloud. So the term there is logical pools, and that pool is found electronically. So the physical storage spans multiple servers, and the physical environment is typically owned and managed by hosting company. So these cloud storages providers are responsible for keeping the data available and accessible, and the physical environment secured, protected, and running. So people and organizations buy or lease storage capacity from the providers to store user, organization, or application data. Now, cloud storage became apparent because of the new wave of technology, which being a new practice nowadays. So, being the cloud, you ought to store data not only within your computer units, at the same time not only on your flash drives, but also you can store it anywhere on the cloud by the cloud seeding companies, just like your Google Drive, um, IBM Blue Chips, BlueStacks, what else? AWS from Amazon, and Alibaba. So these cloud services, storage services can be accessed through a collected cloud computing service, a web service application, or your API, and especially you can have the cloud storage on your desktop, and a gateway for web-based content management systems. So the most common of this service is your Google Drive, and I'm encouraging you guys to use your Google accounts, just because you can use the Google Drive. So the main thing about cloud storage is very handy. At the same time, you don't need any external storages for this. So what happens when you lost your flash drive is that you still have a backup copy of your files being saved into the cloud. So the good thing about this is your file cannot be physically altered, but the only thing is you need to be online every time. So you cannot use a cloud storages if ever you don't have any internet access. But nowadays, it's became apparent because maski din ka mo magkanto, even in your Android phones, you can still download Google Drive and other cloud storages, and you can see your files at real time. So even there's a offline mode for these services and applications, wherein you'll be able to access any file without internet connection. So there are 3 types of cloud storage, guys. Number 1 is a hosted object storage service. The second one is file storage, and then the third one is block storage. So each of these cloud storages types of their own unique advantages. So example of a file storage includes Amazon Elastic File Service, the Cumulo Core, and used for applications that needed access to shared files and require a file system. So for file storages, you have your Google Drive, and for block storages, these are the storages that requires access and grant access. No, so if you are being the network administrator, you can act as the key to whichever file your client would want to access. So going next is your SSD, or your solid state drives. Your solid state drives are also new technology that comes in handy nowadays, and it's mainly used for hardware applications. So we're concentrating more on the hardware side. Your SSD is said to be uses integrated circuit assemblies to store data persistently, and typically using flash memory. and functioning as secondary storage in the hierarchy of computer storage. So it is also sometimes called a solid state drive or a solid state disk, even though SSDs lack the physical spinning disk that found in your HDD, no, in your hard disk drive. So we discussed about last time in your other subjects that your hard disk is composed of tracks and sectors. So being said about a hard disk drive, it's not true with SSD. Your SSD react as your flash drive, do pareho ka flash drive nyo. In any case, mas powerful lang gid ang SSD compared to flash memory. So SSDs nowadays are cheaper, and if you're running your computer on SSDs, the performance is very good. And the setup for information nga gina-access nyo ang SSD nyo, madasig lang siya, guys. And ang sunod naton nga discussion is about a flash memory. So I think your flash memory is often called your small SSDs, pero the only thing is that you have silicon microchip inside your flash memory. So amo di kinalainan da. So most SSD manufacturers are non-volatile NAND flash memory in the construction of their SSD. The reason for this is the lower cost compared to DRAM and the ability to retain the data without constant power supply. So ensuring data persistence through sudden power outages may result to a different matter, no? And of course, I think your ano lang, when you're going to use your flash memory drives, I think you're only using 5 volts, no? Of so gamay nga power ang kinanglan. Then solid state drives rely on VNAND technology. These are layers of cells that are stacked vertically and have introduced by I think some companies, no, mga Toshiba, SanDisk, among others. These are the primarily producers of your flash memory drives. And I think their product is more reliable compared to other devices. You can also use other flash drives like your Kingston. So those are of good quality. But mainly SanDisk, Samsung, what else? I think those are the very good flash drive that you can buy on the market. Now, if you have flash drive, you have also DRAM. So expectedly, your DRAM is derived on your RAM, no? So nowadays for DRAM, the latest DRAM I think is DDR6, no? Pero sa Philippines I think wala pa na siya. So until now, sa mga gaming RAM, we still have until DDR5 pa lang. So the most common is DDR4, and in my case, I'm still using DDR3 sa akong computer. And it also runs well pa, no, using Windows 10. But if you're going to go upgrading now, kaysa I think on October 5, Microsoft will upgrade your operating system. May mo na siya ma-release na ka Windows 11. So I think you need more RAM for this, and DRAM can be upgraded into higher version so that you can accommodate the Now, if the tip here is if you're going to upgrade your hardware devices, you might as well upgrade your power supply. Why? Because if you're going to expand your devices, it is expected that it needs more power, no? So to be stable, to be power stable, all you have to do is to upgrade also your power supply. For your activity number 6, you're going to refer to flash memory and DRAM. So in your own words, you're going to contrast and compare flash memory from DRAM. So compare nyo sa guys, no? So it's the same with your activity number 5, and you still have to provide at least 5 comparisons between the two. And you may use any offline and online software provided it will be copy pasted to any word processor. So you're going to convert it in PDF and save it as activity number 6. So you're going to upload it in your Google Classroom. So the deadline of your activity, which is 40% of your grade, 30% of your grade, will be on Saturday at Saturday noon. So okay. Now for our code of the day, what is the object am I holding during our second session? I think kagina I'm holding an now I'm holding a white charger. So I'm holding a white charger. Okay, so this is the object for the day. I'm holding a white charger. So ad astra per sapientia, it means to the stars through knowledge. So thank you guys for attending our lecture this evening. And thank you also for the people who have joined tonight. And thank you also for the people who joined kaginang aga and still joining right now. So I think if you're going to the topic that we discussed kaginang aga, it's still the same the topic that we discussed right now. Although these are the things that we need to discuss, the activities for the lesson for this week. I think we're just comparing file systems, no? We are comparing two file system, and most of the time, guys, most of the computer units nowadays are running on NTFS. So especially Windows, guys, no. So we're talking about Windows operating system. Although you can actually use your NTFS files or open it in Linux because of the standard known as NTFS Go. And it is standard for Linuxes that may ara sa nga pareho kada. So that any file that you can produce on your Windows operating system can be opened there. So other than that, NTFS is not compatible with Mac OS. Take note, hindi siya compatible sa Mac OS. So expectedly, there are some contents that can be opened and there are some contents that cannot be opened ginto na. So medyo alien sa dang kay tilain ang file structure. So medyo komplikado gawa ang file structure ka kailain ang design ka Mac OS. So compared to Windows. But when we speak about a standard Windows operating system, pareho ka Windows 10, Windows 8, Windows XP, Windows 7, I think NTFS na siya, guys. You're running into NTFS, no? The most one of the difference between the two is mabudlay i-reformat ang NTFS ninyo. So you need a very ample time to wipe out the system. Unlike sa FAT ninyo that you can only apply the reformatting sa layer niya. Whereas sa NTFS, kinanglan mag-reformat ka mo or mag-restain ka NTFS file, kinanglan halin sa puno gid. And we all know that your hard drives has limits in reformatting. But nowadays that we have your SSD, it's hindi lang siya mabudlay gid no gawa. Pero kanang una mabudlay kay nagamit pati ka hard disk drive. And I noticed that sometimes when you sagad ninyo ka reformat ya computer ninyo, nagahinay na siya. Nagahinay na siya. So, but if you're using an flash a flash type of device which is your SSDs, I think wala na siya effect kung kapiran niyo sa formaton. Kailain ang structure ka SSD ninyo sa HDD. So that is all for file systems. Now, when you speak about cloud storages, this refers to the file that you're going to store on the cloud-based storages. And it is an external storage capability of your computer unit in a network. Just because you are saving your file without any restrictions, provided you have an internet connection, regardless of how much is this capacity of the file that you're going to upload, you can still manipulate it and save it in your Google Drive. So that is why, guys, I'm saying kagina that I'm encouraging you to use your .edu accounts, that ISCOF.edu account, so that you have unlimited storages for your cloud storage. That's just make sure lang that there's no copyright restrictions that because your Google is particularly more particular on pirated data, no? So hindi siya gusto ka pirated data. You may notice that if you're going to upload it, may mga limitations hindi nyo siya ma-upload it, especially softwares. Hindi nyo gid ma-upload and mga pirated devices. If you want to, there are a lot of cloud services or cloud storages that you can use. Aside from Google, you can use OneDrive sa Microsoft. So kung may dyan ka mga, kung original ang inyong laptop pagbakal nyo, I think may bundle na siya may bundle na siya uh, cloud storage sa OneDrive, no? So I think it's only 15 gigabyte lang, just like your um, Google Drive. So they are pareho lang ang storage capacity. Pero if you want more, you have to pay premium, no? Just like your AWS, you have actually Amazon, no? Amazon will give you $100 for the storage device for 1 year. And then you can after 1 year you pay na, may bayad na siya after 1 year. So may trial ka mga 1 year worth $100, and any cloud systems technology that you're going to avail for AWS. So AWS is the parent company for Amazon, and just like other cloud services, it provides daily service for cloud storages. Ang SaaS ninyo bala nga ano. So other cloud storages and cloud based applications are just like your Alibaba, which is your parent company of your Lazada, no? So there, you can transact business in their application, and then the file or your file will be saved into their databases. The only problem there is that there's no such thing as freedom, you know. If you're using a freeware or the free courses or the free elements of cloud storage services, you may find out later on that ginabasla ng dada sa ads. So, hindi ka mo matingala guys if you're subscribed to any cloud application, Lazada, Shopee. In your Facebook, I think ginabombard na kamo ka mga advertisements. Tingala ka duro mga ads. Bago ka lang nag-search sa Google, ka mga baraklon ka kung ano yung gusto mo sa Lazada. Then, gulpi lang, pag-abot mo sa Lazada nga app, nagamit ka Lazada nga app, puro dulang advertisement, no? And your Facebook as well, naga-advertisements, anda, duro yan, ano. So, that amo day paagi kadang mga third-party softwares din nyo guys, para nga makakita man sanda. So, it involves also cloud network, no? So, there's no such thing as freedom. Your information is being tracked. That is the price of using free services or free applications, not only with cloud storages and other ano. Now, when you're talking about SSD, DRAM, and flash memory, so all of those things are secondary storage devices, but on the hardware side. So if the cloud storage is on the software side, I think your DRAM, your flash, and the flash memory, and the SSD are on the hardware side. Now, when you speak about on the hardware side, this refers to the use of your hardware devices in applications that is compatible with them. And how are you going to study about this? We need to study the three of this because you need to classify them according to use. So just like your flash memory, it's the parent or the patent for your flash drives are on the flash memory side. So flash memory na siya. So compare ang capacity niya anong file system na anong hardware. So insa nga mas madasig ka compared sa inyong SSD. And ano ya pinaka anong version right now? I think ang sa USB ninyo nagagamit sa kadang ano nga storage no sa flash memory drive. The compatible device that is being is set in your USB drives. So USB type C, type A, no? But nowadays, I think the EU, nabasahan ko kagina, ang European Union, nag-opt sanda nga ang standard sa mga sunod ng mga tinuig is USB type C. So kung may phone ka mga type C, I think sa mga laptop kag sa ibang devices, sa mga tinuig nga maabot, amo day standard doon nga storage device. So those are the things that you need to classify. And because in systems administration and networking, you'll be able to manage files. At the same time, you must know kung the deployment for the sa inyo nga dang file structures ka computer ninyo. So there are a lot of ways on how to see your storage devices. I think kaginaway ko dyan mapakita, no? If I'm not mistaken, guys, you can actually see, because I'm not so sure about this, no? Bago ko lang dyan actually nadumduman. You can see the file storage devices of your computer unit on your settings. So all you have to do is, I think you have to right click and then more. Okay, just wait. Account settings, no? Actually, hindi na. So last time, ang pwede ninyo dahil maobra sa inyo, this one. You go through your start menu and then you click right click. And then I think you're going to click disk management, no? If I'm not mistaken. Okay. So you're in your disk management, guys. Actually, you will see there the volume, the layout, the type, the file system, the status, the capacity, and the free spaces of your computer unit. So as you can see here, you can classify NTFS and FAT, no? You can see there the partition of your for disk management. So you can see sa hard C sa disk, ang C nga daya, guys, is this one. Ang C naton nga daya is ang sa drive C ka computer naton, no? So the file structure is NTFS. And as you can see, I'm still using FAT sa flash drive. So ang flash drive nga today is this one. Nagaangot ang flash drive ko. And the anang file category is FAT pa siya. So FAT. Ang nagagamit ako ka maximum capacity ka file allocation table, which is ang 32-bit nga pa. Pero as you will notice, ang file system sa dang C, NTFS gid siya. So all the basic things that you need to do on your computer, just like your C and your drive D, your drive C, this is the C drive, and the drive D, which is ang flash drive. So you can see here on this management kung ano na classification, at the same time kung ano yung status na. So makita nyo guys sa this management. Kaya aga wala ko dyan napakita because bago ko lang siya actually na dumduman. So if you're going to access it, you have to right click and then you go to disk management. And then this one. You'll be able to access the management of your disk drive inside your computer unit. So I think that is it, no? That is already the bulk of the discussion for this evening. Some of the rest of the discussions that we're discussing on this week was discussed a while ago sa kaginang aga. However, still the same, the topics that we discussed. And if you have clarification, guys, I'm willing to answer your questions. No. So by the way, after this session, I will be activating your code of the day. You can actually answer it from tonight after the session until 10 p.m. Tomorrow, guys, let me remind you that at 10 a.m., I'll be opening your quizzes. So sometimes temprano pa. Wala gani kung sa alas 9, alas 10, nag-open doon ko. Mga quizzes ninyo. And then you can answer 10 multiple choice, 10 points, multiple choices. You can answer it, until midnight. So, ang quiz ninyo is until midnight, starting from 10 a.m. Sometimes earlier. Okay, so thank you for attending, guys, our session for this evening. I think that is all, no? Why naman ko siguro maidugang. Unless nga you have still questions regarding our subject for this evening. If you will, I check your work na already and check ko man siguro ang tulad nga nagpasa pa. Because wala pang deadline. So the deadline, I think, of your activity is on Saturday pa man. Before noon. Saturday noon. So thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Faith. Thank you, Ruby and Kier. Thank you. Good evening. Thank you, Crystal, Jade, and Shanine for attending our class this evening. So I hope that next meeting, you will still join me in our subject lecture. So thank you so much, guys, and good evening sa tanan. So thank you guys. I will stop the recording na. And you can see the recording of their discussion for this evening karon Borbay. I will post it in our group chat. So please answer your code of the day karon Borbay sa inyong Google Classroom. So thank you guys and good evening sa tanan. Okay, stop ko na guys ha.